Okay. We're gonna try this again here. So I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I know one problem is I got this USB interface. It's kind of a backup or one to be able to take with me places. It's a Focusrite Sapphire 6, which is it's just a two-channel, small interface, and it's fine. And I'm sure, in general, it's great. The Focusrite's like a good brand, I guess. So I don't know, but anyway, it does this thing where occasionally it will just decide it's done with connections. It's still receiving power and stuff, but it just disconnects from my computer. So I don't know. I don't know why it does that, but anyway, it does that sometimes. And I took all of the gear that I normally use to do some recording a couple weeks ago, and I just haven't set it back up. So the interface that I typically use that does not have that issue, yeah, I'm not using it. And this is the same interface that I was using last stream, and everything was fine. So I don't know. I think maybe even the last two. I feel like it's been used a couple times anyway. And yeah, so anyway, that was a problem. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what else happened, but anyway, the other possible thing is that occasionally I have issues with running Windows VSTs in Ardor because, obviously I'm on Linux, and so Linux isn't Windows. You can still run Windows plugins, and mostly don't ever have an issue with them. So the way that you run them though is through an additional piece of software, which basically I don't know exactly how it works on the back end, but um, it makes the plugin work with calls to Wine instead of system calls. So, however it does that, on tech side, I don't know, but anyway, but it does that. So the only other thing is occasionally there are issues, and you can do configs and stuff. This program's called YaBridge, or well, that's how I pronounce it, YA bridge, and yeah, fantastic piece of software. And yeah, anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but so I don't know if Ardor was just taking a while to load the plugin and I got impatient and thought that it had frozen, or if it actually froze when trying to do that, because that has happened occasionally. Most of the time, no issues, like I said, but anyway, so that's a possibility. Or it could be that my audio interface just crapped out right at that moment, or a combination of the two. I don't know. Anyway, we're back. So before I started the stream, I actually added the plugin to this channel just to make sure it wasn't going to like keep crashing for some reason, and it didn't. So that kind of makes me think it wasn't the plugin's fault. But anyway, I don't know. So, however, you do run into some issues sometimes where things aren't like 100% working. So there is a graphical glitch in this particular plugin on my machine. Actually, yeah, okay. So, well, when I first brought it up, it's black, and now I'm only getting some of the controls visible, and it's always a bit of a gamble on which controls are going to be visible. So instead of using the provided UI, I just use the Ardor UI. So in Ardor, I don't know what it is in other DAWs, but in Ardor you can just right-click the plugin, and this goes for Linux native plugins as well. So if you just don't like the GUI, you can edit with the generic controls, but that's what you click on in the right-click menu, and then you get this. So nothing fancy, but it gives you access to what you need. And so that's in that other mix that I was doing, that I was talking when I started this stream the first time. I was talking about that's how I use this. That's how I use this plugin. So anyway, right. The point of even adding this plugin was to see if I could kind of get rid of or soften the really nasty frequencies that were coming from the bleed of the hi-hat and other cymbals in the snare mic. So we can take a listen to that. And I think if I want to actually get anywhere with this mix, I'm pretty much just going to have to shut up and just get absorbed in the screen. Otherwise, it's it's not going to get done. I'm just going to keep talking all night, and that won't be interesting. But then I end up feeling like if I'm not talking, that's also not interesting. So, yeah, to anyone who may join the chat at some point, sorry. Either way. Anyway, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna just pull up this track in solo so that we can hear kind of before and after. And this is like, I mean, I haven't, these are all just default settings, so I don't know if it's even gonna make any difference. But just to see what our starting point is, here is with the plugin disengaged. And so that's with it engaged. So like immediately, I mean, just on the default settings, it makes a huge difference. Maybe it's making too much of a difference. We're going to end up in that same situation where the low pass filter that I did on the EQ was taking too much top end away, and so then the snare itself sounded weak, and I kind of feel like we're back there already. Also, I should say I don't know this plugin super well. I just have kind of played around with it until it sounded good. That's what I did on the other mix, and so that's what I'm doing now. I do know we can. So this delta, it's represented here in the default controls as a slider, but it's actually just it's a toggle. So you can see the value is 0 when it's over here, and then it's continually 0 until you cross the midway point, and then it's 1. So that's just a toggle. It just happens to be represented as a slider in the default GUI. But anyway, so that should let us hear what it is taking out. Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky because what I want to hear out of the snare is apparently right in that same range where the cymbals just like really, really do not sound good. Yeah, well, I think I'll leave it there for now. But I'm actually going to pull a gate up anyway, and see where I can get with that. So I do really like the LSP plugin suite, and they are Linux native. Hey Levi, yeah, I had computer issues. I talked about it at the beginning of this stream, but anyway, back again. Let's see. Right, so yeah, I like the LSP plugin suite. The only thing that I don't like about them is that pretty much every one of their plugins is lots of controls. They're kind of hard to learn. They seem a little daunting when you load it up because there's so much, and there's like obviously so much visualization. So like, I mean, when the track is playing, you can see, so like, well, you know, default setting, so it's not going to sound right, but like you can see what it's doing over here, and then you can actually watch where the threshold is, and how your signal's responding to that and all that. So anyway, lots of visualization, which is cool, but also lots of knobs, and there's a lot of things to look at. So you kind of have to just decide, okay, I'm going to learn this plugin, and then you go in and dissect it all, and then they're great, but it's a little bit daunting at first. I think I'm going to actually make this first thing in the chain. Already it's sounding better even with the default settings here. In fact, I think I'm going to listen to that in the full mix. It's definitely, some hits sound like they're it's cutting off too early, but I want to hear it in the context of the mix anyway. Also, since I haven't done anything meaningful with the rest of these tracks, I'm going to mute them for the moment. So it would be that guy. And, well, I guess it's just all these. Yeah. Yeah, so that seems mostly okay. There's a few places where you can kind of hear a cymbal hit right before the gate lets go or engages, I guess. And so then it's like you hear it real loud and it just clamps down. That's really annoying. But also we're not hearing all of the instruments, and I think that probably that isn't going to matter that much. And really, like, I mean, ideally I'd be doing all the mixing, hearing the whole track, but I need to spend some time at least balancing the levels of the leads before I am ready to do that, and I want to see how this sounds, because the cymbal's really annoying me. So dealing with that problem first, even though I probably should even then wait and deal with that, like, in the context of the whole mix. But yeah, I'm going to listen to a little bit of the beginning of the track where things are a bit less busy, make sure it still sounds okay. Yeah, so I think I'm good with that, or at least good enough to move forward. Probably have to tweak it once I'm listening to everything. The only thing that I don't like is that I'm still not hearing all of the top end that I want. So at least there's not the terrible cymbal bleed. Kind of dealt with that issue, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can try. I don't know, with the with the gate we might need. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, definitely need to leave this engaged with, at least with the gate settings that I've got, because it really softens the impact of those cymbals getting choked off by the gate. Anyway, what's up, Lonnie? This will be, well, I don't know what I'm saying. This is the part of this entire process that you'll have the most to say about, I think. So we'll see if you like my mix, whatever it ends up being. Anyway, yeah. Oh, nice. Very cool. Mine definitely has not. Anyway, yeah, so what do I want to do? I'm thinking that I might insert yet another EQ and just boost more high end after this Vastus plugin. I don't know. It kind of sucks because there's just not enough high end in the source, obviously. Whether my drum tuning needed to be different or just the mic placement or whatever, I'm dealing with a source that is imperfect, and I could replace it, but I am not going to do that because I want it to be what I recorded on stream. So, hard to hear the mix on the phone. Oh, yeah, for sure. I hate listening to music on phones. Signal chains looking like on the tracks. Have not done anything, or at least, well, I don't remember everything because it's been 2 weeks since I touched this. But I don't think I've got anything on the master. Yeah, I don't have anything on the master yet. And it'll probably be a bit before I do. But yeah, for the most part, I'm only just now doing some interesting things. It's pretty much only EQ and compression, and then just setting levels. Okay. I've got a gate on all of the toms, and I just added one to the snare. And then also on the snare, there was a lot of bleed, so I found this free plugin called Vastus, which is it's a free alternative to Soothe 2, which is like $200 or something. Anyway, yeah, it basically just Soothe 2 dynamically deals with really harsh frequencies, and it can do the full spectrum. I think Vastus, I guess it only does the top end, but that's where I really need it, at least for what I'm doing with it now. So it's good enough. Also, it's way less than $200. So yeah. Anyway, so that's the most interesting thing that I have. And then my routing is super simple. At the moment, I only have a single bus. I'll have buses for the guitars and stuff once I get to that. But yeah, it's still pretty early on, partly because I spend too much time talking and not enough time mixing, and it'll take me forever if I don't just shut up and do it. So, yeah. I can't remember what I was doing. Oh, yeah. I still want more top end out of the snare, and I'm probably not going to be able to get it because it's just not in the track. But I'm going to try. So here's another EQ. I'm going real crazy with the curve here because I just want to know what there even is in the track. And so now, like, when I've got this boosted a bunch, then obviously I'm boosting everything that I don't like about the track, all of the bleed and stuff. And so the well, okay, this is actually after my gate, but still, you're hearing the gate clamp down really hard because the more that I boost the highs, the more you hear the cymbals, and then the cymbals are the part that get chopped off by the gate, and so then it just really like accentuates that problem. And so then I don't know. A lot of times, like I'll play with putting gates on, and then listen to it a bunch and just hate their effects and can't get them to play nice, and then I end up like totally removing or disengaging the plugin. So we'll see if that happens. But I like the idea of gates. It's just they don't work exactly the way that I want them to. Anyway, but yeah, so that's why I'm going so crazy with the EQ curve. Yeah, you can hear that effect really bad. Instead of a band curve, try high. Yeah, so this is the second EQ that I've got on this track, so I'll show you the first one. So I do have a high shelf. Problem is just all the... sure you also know this, but where you put the gate. Yeah, yeah, I've got the gate first because I want it to, well... I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should have it responding to the increased top end. But anyway, yeah. So there's my first EQ that I've got on there, and then after this plugin that I said does the that kind of automatic getting rid of nasty frequencies in the high end, then I'm boosting it again. But yeah, I don't know. So if you got an opinion on maybe the gate doesn't belong first, but it's kind of what made sense to me. Maybe it would make sense for it to be after the compressor, but I don't know. Yeah, and of course, like it'll sound different too once all of the rest of the guitar parts are going. It'll be a little bit less noticeable, but I still just like I really hate that effect that you get with gate. Definitely sits a little bit nicer there. Good gate plugin for drums, literally called Silencer. Highly recommend. All right. Yeah, I will make a note of that. All right. Well, I can look it up right now, actually. So if you saw any of the beginning of this stream, this is actually my second attempt to do stream tonight because my whole computer basically crashed. Anyway, yeah. So, oh, yeah, that's not gonna find it. Black Salt Audio, is that what you're talking about? Anyway, yeah, I'm on Linux, and so I can run Windows VSTs usually without any issue. Via another piece of software called Yawbridge. That's fantastic. But for the most part, like if I can, I will always prioritize plugins that have native Linux builds, which is maybe I mean certainly more than you would think. Like there's loads and loads and loads of free software, like GPL licensed software. But there's actually a fair amount of commercial software companies that have native Linux builds. Like I can't remember. There's oh yeah, well there's one company that I am actually really curious about, but I've never used any of their stuff. But they're Applied Computer Music Technologies Limited. Really fancy sounding name there, but they have Linux builds for everything. I think they used to be called something like Linux audio software or something like that, like something very kind of puts them in a box sort of thing. But I agree with the name change though. I think that was a good idea because they also build for Windows, and so you kind of have to. But anyway, they've got loads of plugins, a lot of channel strip stuff, and I would really like to try that because I want some options for channel strip emulation that are native Linux, because like I guess I haven't looked it up, but I don't think the SSL stuff is. Not that it wouldn't run with the extra software that I've got. It's just I'm not totally sure that it would either. So, and all that stuff's really expensive. These other plugins, they're like, I mean, they still cost something, but they're like the plugin bundle. Let's scroll down to it. Yeah, they've got the most expensive plugin bundle they have, which I think is literally everything that they sell, is $164 for the entire collection. So that's like, for some companies, that's what a single VST costs. Anyway, yeah, enough about that. But I will look into that if it's the Black Salt audio silencer. What I'm seeing right now, don't do that. What I'm seeing right now is, do they only have a subscription model, or kind of looks like they only have a subscription model. Oh, perpetual license, $100. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I might just try to keep an eye on them and see if they run a sale or something. A lot of these plugin companies, they'll sell stuff really cheap. I got the so my favorite amp that I own is the 80A MP1, and some company, Nembrini Audio, they put out a model plugin of it. It sounds fantastic. Like it's so dead on, and the cabinet impulses they have sound great. Like it's probably the best experience that I've ever had playing guitar through a VST. Anyway, it's Windows only, but it went on sale for like $30 or something like that, and so I bought that, and it does run with some caveats, but it works, and it's really fun to use. Now, where was I? Yeah, so I changed the what this plugin calls zone, so that the drop off after the threshold on the gate is a little bit less aggressive, and that definitely helped. So I don't know, it's okay, but yeah. So now I've got these highs boosted. So without, it sounds like this. You can still hear some of that like clamping on the cymbals, but yeah, I'm gonna keep going for now with that, and I definitely like the boosted top end, even though the EQ is starting to look ridiculous, but I like the way it sounds. So, yeah, I think I'll move on to bass. So I actually, in the first version of this stream that I did tonight, I was talking about working on a different project, working on mixing a different project, and I had, just like this, I just had the bass DI. I didn't have a recorded amp, and usually that's the way that I work. Like if I'm doing something myself, like I don't even have a nice bass amp to record in the first place. But even if I had one, I mean, I'd probably try to record it for fun, but I wouldn't rely on that. I'd just use the DI because there's so many things you can do in the box that sound so good. So anyway, what I was playing with there is there's a whole set, and this once I really delve into it, might have as good of an experience playing guitar into a computer as the MP1 plugin that I was talking about. But there's this whole new like category of amp modeling where it's like AI assisted essentially in the creation of the amp models, or the amp captures or whatever. And so you can actually you can capture your own amp, which is super cool because that's a feature that up until now has basically only been in dedicated units like I can't think of what that's called, but like the Axe FX, and then the other one that is really popular for that sort of thing. Anyway, yeah, so it's called neural amp modeling, or neural amp modeler, something like that. Anyway, yeah, it's a like a whole open source community of amp models created with like AI assistance. And so I was on that other mix using that as my bass amp, and found some really cool stuff. I think I missed some of your messages. Okay. Technology has made it easier than ever to make amazing sounding mixes in the box. Yeah. Neural DSP has a bunch of awesome amp models. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. There's tons of great stuff. I haven't looked into a lot of that. I have played through like a few that I like, but I don't know. There's something about playing through an amp that is just never, playing in the box is never gonna achieve. Like when you play through an amp one, you just move a lot of air, and then I don't know. To me, I think what it is that like if you're listening to the amp from an amp modeler or something like that, you're hearing the capture, which like you would be anyway, even if you were working with a recorded signal from a guitar speaker. But when you're in the room with the guitar speaker playing the guitar, you're hearing the guitar speaker, which is not a full range speaker. It's just like some big like 12-inch woofer or whatever. And so you don't like, there's no tweeters in guitar amps, and I think for me that's what a lot of it is. Also the effectively zero latency, that's really nice in real amps. But anyway, kind of rambling. Forgot what I was doing. Oh yeah, so yeah, this so neural amp modeling, as far as I know, doesn't have anything to do with the company Neural, but there's what is the plugin name? It's kind of a funny plugin, but anyway, there's an open source one for Linux that uses this standard. What is that called? I know it starts with a B. Yeah, earlier we can look at my list of plugins here. I have way too many plugins. Way too many plugins. I really need to pare this down at some point, but I just haven't taken the time to do it. And then I keep getting more and more interesting things. But it's a problem if you can't remember the name of the thing. I'm pretty sure it starts with, well, maybe not. Yeah, so here's Neural Amp Modeler, but this one actually, I don't remember what the issue with this one is, but this is not the one that I want to use. But this is like what I'm looking for effectively. It's just what I want to use has a totally different name. And I've only Ratatouille. I don't know why I thought that started with a B. Anyway, don't know why they called it that, but it makes it really difficult to remember. Oh yeah, that's my AMP plugin, something called Ratatouille. But that's I don't know. I guess the nature of open source. People get to choose whatever random name they want. Anyway, here it is. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And I downloaded a couple here of I kind of like that. Actually, if I'm going to work on bass, what I really want to do is duplicate this. No, let's put that in the wrong spot. I've already got that. We'll call this so I'm going to keep the low one much less distorted, or maybe not distorted. Oh, sorry, I missed some messages. Levi and I have talked about this several times. Prefers no latency. Yeah. I've talked with Levi about that as well. He feels more strongly about it than I do, but I still prefer real amps. Also, it's just fun. It's just you can, like, it's in the room with you. It's a real object. You can touch it. You can turn the knobs. Like, all of those things kind of, it's part of the experience. So yeah, I'm gonna do the kind of stereotypical thing for like modern metal or whatever. I don't know. At least I think it's still stereotypical. Maybe I'm 5 or 10 years behind the curve or something. But yeah. So basically, just gonna split the bass track into, duplicate the bass track into 2 tracks, and then make one pretty much only for the lows and one only for the highs. And then on the high one, I'm gonna like make it really distorted so it's nice and clanky, and keep the low one much less affected or unaffected, and then that one can be just like kind of a pure tone, so it really like punches you in the gut, but has the aggression on the top end track. So, this is the wrong. I meant to be on this track. I'm gonna do this one first. So we'll just do a high pass. Something like that, which sounds really gross. And then we'll put it with this. Which it might be. So something like that, which hopefully is going to sound okay in the mix. But I'm going to make a new group. And then the other thing I want to do here is not that one. Guess I don't need the tuner anymore. Make the low end not poke out too much. Yeah, something like that. Might be a little bit too clanky, but it's kind of in the ballpark anyway. Also might be just too loud. I don't know. I'm gonna add a little compression on the top end as well. I just kind of want to get rid of a little bit of the transient, I guess. Maybe there's better ways to do that. But it just make it a little less pokey, but still have the growl. That's basically what I want. Guess I could Yeah, sounds okay. But yeah, with the bright guitars and now with the bright bass, I'm like really missing the top end on the snare. So I don't know. There's a part of me that does want to maybe not sample replace, but sample reinforce. But my intention was to do this like with as a total purist, you know. So that's kind of I just want to see it through to the end on that. But it definitely doesn't like I think the snare like in as far as where it's sitting now is kind of the thing that's like tonally, maybe not like as a whole mix like end product, but tonally I think the thing that's really missing is the snare crack. Okay. Yeah. Let's try to. How do I want to do this? I guess I should start making some buses. I don't know if I want to do just a single lead bus. Guess I'll start with that. Oh, not that one. I guess I should make a rhythm guitar bus too, but and for the most part, I mean, I'm gonna do, you know, I'll do a high pass filter on the bus itself, just to get rid of like basically nonsense in the audio that like wouldn't be used anyway. But there shouldn't be like EQ wise, I don't know. I don't immediately hear anything that's like, oh, this really should change or something like that. Like I feel like the guitar tones sound pretty good for this like more modern style of music. Okay, I was trying to get more cymbal and or more overheads. Kind of messed that up. Well, that's fine. I forgot what I was doing. I'll come back to that. Yeah, also I'm gonna put some of these, like I'm gonna put this on a separate track, and guess, what is this? Yeah, harmonies. Okay, so this is the only thing that's kind of an outlier. I want to put that on its own track. And yep. I don't remember, what was it? Guitar end. Yeah, that's the like delayed out thing. Probably. Well, I think that's gonna. I'm just gonna leave that one by itself. What is this? Oh, that's. I think that's the alternate take. So that should have been muted. Okay. And then, oh, this harmony was already panned. Cool. Trying to decide how wide I want this this to be. Obviously, if you're watching, I put the harmony parts. I didn't have them fully panned out, and then I felt like they weren't really being heard as well. So fully panned them out, and then it was like without even touching the faders, felt like I could hear them better. Anyway, so trying to decide on these. Even after listening to it again, after having taken these tracks and panned them all the way out, I kind of don't know that I want to do that with these. Yeah, sort of like where they're at, actually. Yeah, but those still need to be added. I think that's everything now is going to that bus, everything that I want. Yep. Okay. Cool. And then, oh, I've got, I guess I need yet another track because I want this part on its own for sure. That's the big, that's like the main solo of the whole thing. I keep forgetting to set where I want it. You can have it duplicate into, what is that? Anyway, you can have it duplicate wherever you want, basically, on the, that's fine. Okay. There's a whole lot going on here, so it's going to be because, yeah, synths like to eat up a lot of the audio spectrum. And then, well, there's synths, and then there's all this guitar stuff. So, and then the lead besides, whole lot going on. Anyway, not really worrying about that part of the song just yet. Okay, so going down here to my lead guitar bus. Oh, well, let's do it this way. No, that's not what I want. So I'm just gonna do a high pass just to get rid of any like rumble or whatever that like would be useless information in a lead guitar track. So we'd probably go higher than that. Anyway, do that, and then I think I don't think there's much effects like time-based effects on the original mix, but I love delay and reverb, so I kind of want to add something. I was actually, speaking of plugins and having too many, I scrolled through my plugin list, and obviously there's a ton here. I mean, I'll do it again just for emphasis, but there's a lot of plugins there. And then I was just very recently looking at this, so there's like 400 plugins in this one like plugin front end, but this reverb, Galactic Reverb, is awesome. If for no other reason, you should get the Air Windows plugins just for this one reverb. It's awesome. It's not going to be good for this. It's going to be way too much the wrong kind of thing. But what is even happening here? Oh, I'm not. Yeah, it's super cool, and it sounds like really interesting no matter what you put it on. But it's definitely like it's meant to be. The effect is meant to be the star of the show, not the track that you're putting the effect on. So it is not the right thing for this. But there's also there's a reverb plugin here. K Cathedral, or well, maybe I should. Sometimes there's multiple versions of the same. Yeah, so do K Cathedral 3. This also might be too much, but I just thought this one sounded really cool, so we can. Anyway, it's just a big reverb. It's not really anything special, I guess. But yeah, there's those. There's a whole bunch of reverbs in here. There's one K Guitar Hall, so it's intended to be used with guitar. Whether or not that will mean anything practically for us in this situation, I don't know. But I'm not really sure what that's doing, this top dB control. What I really want with this is some kind of like filter, like cutoff thing, like I want to get rid of some of the lows because the lows are like too, and does not sound good. Anyway, what I really want to put on this actually is yet another Windows VST nasty DLA. So nasty delay. There's a whole series, or at least there's a couple plugins anyway with this nasty prefix. But it does not sound nasty. It sounds gorgeous. Anyway, this is by Variety of Sound. All of their plugins are free. They are not open source, but they are monetarily free. So cool stuff to check out. They actually have a channel strip plugin that I have not checked out yet, but I intend to. So for what I was talking about earlier. Anyway, this thing's awesome. Take it a second to load, and hopefully, well, yeah. So this is probably my favorite delay, maybe ever. The MXR Carbon copy comes close, or maybe like if we're just distinguishing between guitar and general purpose delays, then the Carbon copy would be my favorite guitar delay. But this thing's awesome. So my favorite thing to do, really the only two things that I use this for are this 201 tapes. Can you see? Yeah, 201 tapes preset, and where's the other one? Oh, whatever. Somewhere in here, there's another preset that I also really like. But in general, this is what I reach for first. The only thing is, it's usually too much, so you gotta dial back on the wet knob. And weird. The GUI usually works with no issue, but for some reason, it is not liking me. Oh, actually, turn off this reverb, and if I use it at all, I want it after the delay. Also want the fader last. Anyway, there's just like there's a really interesting character to this delay. Like I don't know if there's like, yeah, there's modulation. Well, this is off. I don't know. We can, even if it's not responsive, we can look at this. But yeah, so, well, the chorus is all the way down. I don't know. I don't know what it's doing, like on this particular preset or whatever. But because the only thing that I really touch is the wet knob, and I mean, I don't know. I've probably played around with some of the other. But anyway, this plugin is fantastic. So whatever it's doing. Yeah, there's kind of a, I don't know how to describe it, but wow to the sound as it's being delayed. And I think it sounds phenomenal. So I'm going to use it. Definitely still too much. But just out of curiosity, I want to listen to that with a reverb on the other side in the chain. Yeah, I really just kind of like it by itself. But it's just still too much. Oh, that might be it. Yeah, that sounds good. That one's kind of getting buried. I don't know. It's also, now that I turned it up, just gonna make a couple of slight adjustments to the EQ. Do some automation on the end there because that the delay sounded a bit aggressive for the end of that section. So this bothers me. I always do the if I've got something panned left, I want it on the top and then panned right on the bottom. Just to, I don't know if everybody does it that way, but it bothers me if it's not that way. Anyway. It sounds a little weird coming out of that. I wonder maybe I want to find what that other preset is because there's another preset. Well, I think I've used this one before, but there's for the most part just two. Epic, that's the one. This is the one. This is the one that I actually use more than the 201 tapes, although I do really like the 201 tapes. Yeah, but the thing that I don't like about this preset is that for some reason the dry is not at like they slightly dip the dry on the preset for some reason, but the wet is a bit much because the tail on this thing's very long. Yeah, you can hear that. It's awesome sounding delay. Yeah, so let's listen to that in isolation here. And again, there's obviously some kind of some kind of modulation going on. Also, yeah, there's like a ping pong like stereo delay or stereo thing going on. Anyway, it sounds so cool. I could listen to just the reverb tail on a lead guitar like pretty much all day. Sounds so good. And I usually take the wet down around this range numerically. Although like I said, typically I am looking at the GUI. I don't know why it's not liking me. But so yeah, it's still showing the preset state. I think actually it might be well, I don't know. This GUI typically works for me, no problems. I don't know what's going on. I do know that some GUIs become unresponsive without having DXVK installed, which I think is really more of a gaming focused piece of software, but it does it's something to do with translating like DirectX calls to Vulkan or something like that, and I have not installed that. It's on my list of things to do because there is one plugin that I have that I know for sure has that issue, or well, it it has the issue of the GUI getting stuck. I don't know for sure that will be the resolution, but for that plugin alone, I wanted to try it. And now that it's affecting one of my favorite plugins, then, I'm having that issue with one of my favorite plugins, then I definitely want to try it. So hopefully that will work. But the plugin, like the middleman software that I use to run the Windows VSTs, it also has a bunch of like config options and stuff that you can do. So there might be something in there. Anyway, okay. These are maybe just a hair quiet, and this is actually, excuse me, maybe a hair loud. Let's make this. I think I'm gonna make a rhythm guitar bus, and off screen I had to look up how to spell that word because I can never remember, so I'm just going to paste that. And I don't think that I want to do anything like effects-wise to those because they're, I don't know, just doesn't seem like the right thing. I don't want everything like so cloudy and buried in reverb that there's no definition to anything. But one of these days, there's a really cool plugin. Yeah, this in the LSP plugins. That's like kind of, well, I don't know what it does, but it has 3D stuff, so obviously it's cool. Anyway, it's some kind of, well, it's called Room Builder, and yeah, I don't know how it works, but like you can, I mean, I've seen screenshots and stuff of people, like I guess you can load in 3D models like from like Blender or something, I don't know. Anyway, and then it simulates how the geometry of whatever model you load in is supposed to sound. So like I don't know what I'm looking at here. I've only even opened this plugin like once before, but I want to have an excuse to mess around with this someday. It's just there's obviously a lot to learn here. Like I said, the LSP plugins are great, but most of them have well, some of them have a significant learning curve. Like this obviously would take a while. Most of them have a higher learning curve than a lot of other plugins, though, that do similar things. Like they're I don't know, even the equalizer that they use. Like, I don't like it graphically quite as much as the one that I used to use, but that's a whole other story that well, I don't know. We'll see. That's a whole other story. What? I wonder. I guess my stream's still going. I don't know if my audio interface. I should be seeing audio. Why am I not seeing audio? Or, I mean, hearing it. Did that plugin screw everything up? Hmm. Oh, this is fun. Yeah, I really don't know what happened. I don't know if my interface had a hiccup thing again, or if that plugin did something. Can you guys, if anyone is still in the chat, can you hear my voice? Also, that's only receiving. I don't know what happened. That's only receiving the left side audio. Oh. Yeah, something is definitely not right. I think my my audio interface. Hang on. We'll see if this kills my stream again. If you can hear me and this does kill my stream, I'm probably not going to start it again. So in that case, see you next time. And if this works, then I'll keep going for a little bit. Make sure I save before I do this.